Hey guys, so my name is Leon, and today I want to do a brief video about the NBA trade deadline. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I want to talk about the trades that have been made before the deadline. But that being said, let's just get into it. So there's one trade I want to talk about yesterday. Dion Wright going from Detroit to Sacramento, chased with Corey Joseph in the second round. Well, two second round picks. I think it's a good job by Detroit. You know, Dion is a good, solid role player, but they get two picks for him. So I mean, why not go for it if you get picks? You know, the second round picks. Sacramento, they get a chance at Dion White, who's a solid young player. You know, he's kind of not really young anymore, but Cole Joseph was just expensive for them. So why not dump it if you can and you just give them a second round pick? So that's a trade from yesterday. Um, Moving on to the earliest trade I completed. The Nuggets acquired JaVale McGee for Isaiah Hartenstein in 2 seconds. I think it's a good job by Denver by getting a quality backup center. I'm not saying Hartenstein or Jermichael Green are bad at backup center, but JaVale McGee is a clear upgrade over those guys. My only issue is if JaVale McGee leaves the off season, then you waste two second round picks to get a rental, but you can always quiet them throughout a draft, so whatever. Moving on. So one of the big trades that just made Orlando Magic is just changing their roster up. So they gave up they call it Vucevic and they do an Alpha Camino in there, former Clipper slash Portland Trailblazer in exchange for Wendell Carter, Otto Porter, and a first round pick, which is from this year. Is it? No, two first rounders. Well, yeah, one first rounder is from this year. The second one is from 2023. It's a good gamble by Chicago. Helps your offense. Booch could be a good complement to Zach LaVine and Kobe Wright, Laurie Marketing, who can kind of shoot. And Patrick Williams, he could be a good fit with those guys. And the Bulls could make a playoff on the East. Atlanta Magic, but by the way, they're not doing very well anyways with Boots, so you might as well trade them, see what you can get, and get two first rounders. I originally thought it was gonna be three, but unfortunately, you only can get two. So it is what it is. And Wendell Carter could be a good guy to take a chance on. They also have Mo Bamba if just in case Wendell Carter's too injury prone and Jonathan Isaac's coming back to next year. So we'll see where it goes for Orlando. They will build again. Let's move on. Evan Fournier goes to Boston for 2 seconds. And I think Jeff Teague is also doing it there, which great for Boston to let Jeff Teague go, to a different team. And also can clear minutes for guys like Peyton Pritchard and Carson Edwards. And you can also move Marcus Smart back to back a point guard. And especially with the presence of Fournier, who's pretty much he's 6'5" or 6'6". He's not one of those guys where you have to have on a team between 6'6" and 6'8" or 6'9" to give you quality perimeter defense and depth. Next to Brown and Tatum, he could play those guys at crunch time. So good risk by Boston and good trade by them. And decent trade for Orlando again. Something for Fournier. Let's move on though. Aaron Gordon, the third Orlando Magic star to be traded. Um, they got a first round pick, RJ Hampton and Gary Harris. The first round picks in 2025. Gary Harris was kind of getting up there in age. He's not really a key piece of Denver no more. He's a good defense player, but offensively, he just not doesn't have it. RJ Hampton is a good young player, and he's someone who had a lot of buzz in high school, but he can develop more in Orlando, and he wasn't going to be able to develop in Denver. Aaron Gordon slides right into the role that Grant had last year before going to Detroit. So he could play the 3 or 4. I'd rather Gordon play the 4, play next to Patrick Ford Jr., play next to Jokic, and you also have Jamal Murray, and you could throw in any shooting guard. Maybe Will Barton can move back to the shooting guard instead of play small forward. You could have Jamal Murray move from point guard to shooting guard and play Martin Morris and the Capazzo guy from Europe play point guard. So you have options now if you're Denver. You're more versatile, and he also acquired McGee too. So Denver's doing good stuff. And it's not like you're giving up all your young players too. You still have PJ Dosa and Bobo. So it's a good trade. Moving on. Then Chicago, Washington swapped some young players. Morg and Troy Brown Jr. goes to Chicago, while Chad Hudson and Gafford goes to Washington. I think Gafford would be a good quality backup center. He's a more natural rim protector than Mo Warner, who's more of an offensive style of big man. And Chad Hudson's more of a guy who could play small forward, power forward, while Troy Brown could play more shooting guard, small forward. So you got Troy Brown moving to the 2 to 3, could back up Zach LaVine and Patrick Williams, while Chad Hudson kind of more redundant to all the guys that the Bulls have with Patrick Williams and Al-Farouq Aminu, so you might as well get him out there and go send him to Washington where he's more likely to play. And with Troy Brown kind of had a similar palm playing guard behind Bradley Beal and Westbrook and all that stuff. So both of the young guys have new chances to start over. It's a good deal, but I think we won't hear the last from one of these players on this trade. So let's keep going. Then Nemanja Bjelica from Sacramento. I don't think he was playing as much anymore because I think Sacramento started to play. Um, I think Marvin Bagley before he got hurt, and Rashawn Holmes. Anyways, Bjelica is getting traded to Miami in trades for Harkless and Chris Silva. I think it's a good trade for Miami to fill in, to give them another power forward that can kind of shoot, can replace the role that left for Miles Leonard, and he could play, alongside Kelly Olynyk, can play alongside Bam, can play backup center for them. Good option. It's good that they acquired him, and Mo Harkless has been made expendable by acquisition of Trevor Ariza early in the week, which I thought they'll keep Ariza and Harkless, but hey, it's what it is. And then Chris Silva is redundant to Precious Achula, so Chris Silva can be dealt as well. Moving on, the Thunder, Knicks, and Sixers do a 3-team deal. George Hill goes to the Thunder, to the Sixers, and then they also acquire Braseskis from the Knicks, Austin Rivers, Tony Bradley, and 2 seconds from Philly goes to the Thunder, and the Knicks get Tyler Ferguson, Vincent Poirier, and the other second round pick from the Sixers. So the Sixers give up 3 picks and some players like Tiger Ferguson and guys like that just to get George Hill. I think it's a good move. I'd rather have them get George Hill than Kyle Lowry. I'm not saying Kyle is bad. Kyle Lowry is like 36. He's a good player, but he's getting old, and you giving your whole good young core to get him. I think that was not fair to Philly. I'm glad Philly did this move instead. Even though George Hill's not as good as Kyle Lowry, George Hill is not bad. It's good to have him. He could be a key player for you down the line, and he does probably. He's like 70% of the player that Kyle Lowry is, or 80%. So it's good deal by the Sixers. Good for Knicks trading some of their spare parts to get a pick and take a chance for Tiger Ferguson, and Thunder getting 2 more picks. So we'll see how it goes for them. Anyways, moving on. This is like the worst trade of the night. The Blazers acquire Norm Powell, and they give up Gary Trent Jr., who's a 6'5", 6'6" wing player, could shoot threes. When I was watching games, he was shooting lights out, and he was making every three when I was watching. And then give up Ronnie Hood, who's injury prone, but very similar, good 3-point shooter, okay defensively. And you give those 2 up because for whatever reason, for Norm Powell, who's only 6'4", yes, Norm Powell's a good 3-and-D guy too. He can shoot, score, play defense. But I think Norm Powell is very similar to CJ McCollum. And that's why I didn't like the trade. They're like the same height. They're very similar. And CJ McCollum struggles defensively, but Norm Powell's a little bit better. I mean, he's pretty good, actually. No, I'm lying. Norm Powell's pretty good defense. I thought they was going to trade CJ. I'm like, what are they doing? What is this deal? What are they doing? It doesn't make any sense. It's a frustrating deal, but Toronto, they robbed Portland here. It is what it is. Moving on. Utah trade for Matt Thomas. They give up a 2nd-round pick. I think Toronto, because they have an access of players, they was able to get a pick for Matt Thomas, who I think is one of the better shooters, but he's not going to play as much, unfortunately, because of the Toronto's depth chart. So might as well get something for him. Another frustrating, well, not even frustrating, I don't really care about it. I think it was just done by the Clippers. The Clippers decided to give 2 second rounders to Lou Williams for Rondo, and my God, this is kind of bad because Clippers gave a lot of picks in the Paul George trade to the Thunder, and if you get a solid like a guy who's like in his mid 20s, he don't have to be like a star. No, he can be like a eighth, not eighth man. What I'm saying, he can be like good, solid, quality role player who's like on a 2 3 year deal. Wando is like in his mid 30s, and you give it to second round and Lewis, and yeah, Lewis can't guard anybody, and I guess Wando's a better playmaker, but Wando's old, my man. So I don't know about that deal, but we'll see how it turns out. Lou Williams is gonna be in Atlanta. I think Lou Williams with Trey Long. That'll be interesting to watch. Let's see how that goes. Moving on. They give to Toronto Raptors. Give up Terrence Davis to Sacramento. Saves for second round pick. Small again. Toronto just making small moves all around. Terrence Davis, good player, but now you have Ronnie Hood and what's his name, Gary Trent Jr. You don't need the Matt Thompsons and Terrence Ferguson's of the world anymore in your rotation. They just gonna take on the minutes of the guys you acquire. So get something for them. Get rid of them. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Move on. JJ Redick and Nicole Meckley goes from the Pelicans to the Dallas. I think great trade by Dallas, to be honest. If they can play 5 minutes from Melly, I know you have Dwight Powell and what's this guy, Maxi Cleaver on your team and Porzingis, but Melly could shoot. He could really shoot. You can have guys who have more space. Luka, obviously, we know JJ Redick can shoot, but it's a good deal by Dallas. And yes, they're giving up a second round pick, whatever, and Wesley Iwundu, former Magic, good young player, but he's not gonna really play much. And yes, James Johnson, whatever. James Johnson's a quality veteran, but he's not gonna play much for the Pelicans either. What are you gonna do? Toughen up Zion? I don't know. Moving on. The Warriors traded Brad Marmaker, probably for second round pick. Doesn't matter. The Warriors clear their guard depth rotation. The Hornets acquire another guard that can play in Lamelo Ball's absence. Moving on. Now this is another big trade. I don't know how it helps the team that he's going to. Like, basically, Victor Oladipo gets traded to Miami, and he's get traded for Bradley and Kalanick and a pick, probably first. Honestly, man, I think Oladipo is a good young talent, but to be honest with you, I don't know what position he will play on this team. So is Duncan Robinson coming on the bench? Is Jimmy Butler coming on the bench? Is Kendrick Nunn coming on the bench or going Dragic? Is what position Oladipo playing? I'm not saying Oladipo was bad, but what position is he gonna play? You gonna It doesn't make sense unless we're gonna have Jimmy Butler play power forward next to Bam. I'm confused by this deal. Yeah, Oladipo helps you a little bit, but I was thinking they was trying to go for more of a forward kind of guy. Somebody could play next to Jimmy at power forward. I don't know. I mean, they have that in Pechita from Sacramento, but I guess Doug Robinson can come off the bench with Tyler Hero. I mean, Miami's deeper, but are they really better? Anyways, they give up Bradley and Olenek, and Olenek was good for them. Bradley, wasn't really a fan of the signing. Bradley's a good defensive guard, but that's pretty much it. Moving on. And Marquise Chris goes, he's out for the season, by the way. I think he torn his fibula. He goes from the Warriors to Spurs for the draft rights for somebody. I think the Spurs are just doing the Warriors a favor. The Warriors clear watch the spot. Moving on. And then this trade is interesting. So you have basically Tice from Boston goes from, they trade Tice and Javonte Green from the Celtics for Moana and Luke Cornett. Boston gets some big men in there. And I guess the Bulls get a quality backup center. I don't know. I think it's okay deal for Chicago, but I think it's decent for Boston too. They get younger. They clear out some center rotation stuff. So now Robert Williams on the Celtics can get more minutes. Now with Tice, who's a veteran big man, is gone. He can back up what you called Booch in Chicago. So let's see how that goes. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching, and let me know what you think about the trades, and adios.